What's going on, YouTube? Zerozipziltch here, and we're doing a little bit of a different video this time. We're gonna do a more of an informative video. I'm getting lots of questions about where do you find this Pokemon, where do you find that Pokemon. So today we're gonna take a quick look at a graph almost of where to find a specific Pokemon. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so first on the list are ghost Pokemon spawn locations. Now it says here, during the nighttime, the spawn rate for ghost Pokemon is slightly higher. This can include the early hours of the day or late in the afternoon. And you can find most ghost Pokemon in residential areas. It says here, though the spawn rate is very low, players have reported ghosts spawning in residential areas. So it makes a lot of sense that ghost type Pokemon you find at nighttime makes a lot of sense. Residential area. I can vouch that I have caught a few Ghastlies in my area. It is a residential area, so that's where you can catch some nice ghost type Pokemon, of which as of now we only have the Ghastly Haunter Gengar, and more are to come with other updates. So next on the list are poison Pokemon spawn locations. Now it says here that wetlands can range from marshes, ponds, and even some lakes. And it also says you can find poison Pokemon in industrial areas. So poison Pokemon can be found in industrial parts of the city and large buildings. So if you're living in a city that has, maybe a steel factory in it, that would classify as an industrial area. So I don't recommend, trespassing on to, the steel factory or whatever it is. I don't recommend trespassing on their property just to find a Pokemon. You never should do that. But basically that's pretty much where you can find all your poison types. And like I said, don't go trespassing on any factory land or whatever, because you're just getting in trouble, and the excuse of, oh, I'm playing PokemonGo isn't really acceptable in that situation. Next up, we have our normal Pokemon spawn locations. Now, I'm assuming that it's including the flying types in here, because you got the Pidgeys and stuff there. So it says here, residential, normal type Pokemon are very common in residential areas, like neighborhoods, of which I can vouch for. I've found lots of Pidgeys and Rattatas, and Eevees, and Spearows, and all that kind of stuff in the residential area I'm in. And it also says here that you can find normal Pokemon in universities. Universities appear to have the highest spawn rate for all normal type Pokemon. So if you're, in, university, or I would assume college as well, you should be finding an above rate average of normal type Pokemon. Next on the list, iced Pokemon spawn locations. Now, it says here, you can find them in bodies of water. Anywhere water can be found, there will be a chance for an ice type spawn. So you got your, your Jinx, your Seals, your Cloysters, and Laprases. And then it also says in grassy areas, ice Pokemon have been reported to spawn in grassy areas. So, just like big fields and stuff like that. Don't know why a Pokemon will be in a grassy area, like an ice Pokemon, but that's what it says. Next on the list, psychic Pokemon spawn locations. Now it says here, hospitals, players are reporting a higher spawn rate for psychic Pokemon near hospitals. I can actually really vouch for that, because I live right beside a hospital, and finding lots and lots of Drowsies, Slowpokes, and Abras. I haven't really found any Mr. Mimes. I found a Jinx, but that wasn't around here. And as you saw in my other video, I hatched execute. So it says hospitals are a higher spawn rate. It also says residential, nighttime. Psychic Pokemon spawn in residential areas, mostly around nighttime. Of which, again, I can also vouch for that. Moving on, we have our grass Pokemon spawn locations. Now, there's a few here. Now, grassy areas would make the most sense. Any location with lots of grass will provide the high spawn rate for grass-type Pokemon. Golf courses are a good example. Now, again, don't go running out into the middle of a golf course and, oh my god, what is up with that? Be right back, guys. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Got construction still going on here, and it's a pain in the ass. It's really starting to piss me off. They should have been done by now. Anyways, so we covered grassy areas. Parks are the next spawn location for grass-type Pokemon. Parks are the most common place grass-type Pokemon are found, which makes a lot of sense. Of which, yes, I can vouch for it. I've been to a couple parks and found, some Bellsprouts and Oddish, Paris. I've only found like 1 or 2 Bulbasaur, and I haven't even found a Tangela yet. But, like I said, parks are really good for finding those grass types. And it also says nature, farmland, hiking trails, nature reserves are all excellent choices for grass Pokemon spawn locations. And, of course, it makes a lot of sense. So, moving on to the next ones are the rock Pokemon spawn locations. So I'm assuming this is including ground types as well. So it says farmland. Farmland have the highest spawn rate for rock type Pokemon, which is pretty good because, with all the soil and the farmers tilling their fields and stuff like that. So it makes a lot of sense that you'd find a lot of rock types out there. It also says, again, nature, hiking trails, large fields like golf courses, and even parks will spawn rock type Pokemon. I can vouch that some parks will spawn some rock types. I have found a couple Geodude, of which, to be honest, is really the only rock or ground type I have ever found. I mean, aside from Sandshrew, I suppose, that I hatched, and I did catch a couple in a park. So, take that as you will. Next up on the list are electric types. Electric Pokemon spawn locations. Right off the bat, it says here that university and college campuses have reported higher than normal spawn rate of electric Pokemon. So again, if you're in university or college and you're around campus, you should be finding above average spawn of electric types, as well as your colorless. So, and it also says cities, areas that are dry and largely concentrated will have higher spawn rate of electric type Pokemon. The only real electric types that I have found are Magnemites, Pikachus, and Voltorbs. Actually, we did end up tracking an Electabuzz the other night, but we couldn't find it. So I can vouch for cities in general, like big, industrial cities, can spawn some decent electric types. And Jolteon, I haven't really found a wild one. I'm just mainly evolving my EVs, so that's pretty much how you're probably going to find yourself a Jolteon. So, next up on the list here are fire Pokemon spawn locations. Now, there are 3 places here. It says farmland again. So farmland appears to have the highest spawn rate of fire-type Pokemon, even more so in arid and dry areas. So I've noticed watching other videos, people who live in California have a higher spawn rate of the fire types, because California being that arid desert. So, and then it says cities. So it says cities similar to residential will spawn fire type Pokemon. The only fire type Pokemon that I have actually found are Growlithe, and that's like right across at the park that I normally am frequenting. So, and what else here? Residential. So neighborhoods and general residential areas have a slight higher than normal fire type Pokemon spawn rates. Now, that doesn't count your starter. So if you were using the Pokemon radar, please don't put down that you caught a Charmander when it's your first Pokemon on that, because I've actually found out that a couple people have actually done that and say, oh, you can catch Charmander here, when indeed you cannot. So just be careful when you're looking at that Poke Radar app, and just make sure that when you're looking for Charmanders, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people have chosen Charmander and they're looking for more to evolve. Just be careful when you're looking at that app. And it says here, farmland. It's your best. It's your best way on getting the fire type Pokemon. And then, last but not least, we have our water Pokemon spawn locations. Now, a couple areas, you can find some water types here. So, water areas, so rivers, streams, lakes, ponds, docks, and even beaches have higher water Pokemon spawn rates, of which I live right by the lake, so I can vouch for that. Wetlands are among the second highest spawn rate of water type Pokemon. So I don't really live near wetlands, but it makes a lot of sense that you can find lots of water Pokemon in wetlands and parks. Parks with ponds and water fountains will spawn water Pokemon, of which the park across the street does have the water fountains and stuff like that. And like I said, I live right by the lake. On this picture, I would say I have caught every basic form of all these water types except for Kabuto, Ammonite, and Lapras, of which the Lapras that we have hatched. So, if you're living near a lake or a river or anything like that, go down there, especially if there's like a Pokestop near that area. Pop down a lure. You are guaranteed to find at least some Magikarp and some Poliwag, and possibly Psyduck. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that little tidbit of information. I thought it was very informative myself. So, let's wrap up this video. Alright guys, so those are all the potential spawn locations for every type of Pokemon that you can think of. Like I said, I can vouch for a couple of them, especially the water types, because I live right by a lake. It is a very good way to, kind of plan out your route when you're out and about on your Pokemon adventure. So, yeah, if you actually are near farmland and find some fire types, you should let me know in the comments, and let me know if you can confirm that, because my family, a part of my family lives near farmland, and I'm going up there next month, and I would really like to know if I'm going to be able to catch myself some more Charmanders up there. So, leave a comment if you found this video very helpful. Or, if you can, vouch for any of the areas that I cannot. So, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you truly liked it, hit that like button. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. Always having new quality content coming out on the daily. So, from me to you, until the next time, see you later, folks.